So, in just 2 more months, Doom will finally be here. Never thought I would actually say that, but with that said, we know that it is going to work on another game, and I'm sure there will be DLCs or expansions for Doom in the future because they did confirm they will be supporting the game as much as they can after its release. I don't know when the next Doom game should come out, but for me, maybe like 3 to 4 years seem reasonable, but time will tell. Now, what's going to be the focus in the future? New Quake, Wolfenstein, Rage, or maybe go back to some of their very old IPs before they became the godfathers of the first-person shooter genre, or perhaps they can make another series. So Wolfenstein, I'm very positive that Machine Games is gonna make the new one, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. The New Order was both successful, whether it's from a commercial standpoint or critical standpoint. Old Blood was a different story, but it still did do well in the reviews. I guess DLCs just don't sell as well compared to the main game. I personally think both the Wolfenstein games were awesome, and I think there's really no point of letting id Software making them. I think it'll be cool for like both id Software and Machine Games to make them together. I remember Machine Games said they would add multiplayer to the Wolfenstein games if they had like another team. When I read a GameSpot article, I believe, or something, and maybe id Software can do that. However, I just don't really see it happening because Wolfenstein has been doing fine ever since Machine Games revived the series, and I think they're just going to continue the story from the New Order. Next up is Quake. I really love Quake, and it may seem right for id to reboot the series because we haven't had a Quake game since 2005. I personally didn't really like Quake 4. Single player just didn't hold up that well, and I find it boring to play in this day and age. Multiplayer was basically Quake 3 with a couple of adjustments, which is more of a positive saying compared to the single player aspect, but that's still not saying much. I think Quake is definitely something it can work on, but the fact it has such a strong esport following and it never had much success on consoles, like I said, the whole esport following, it makes the Quake series such a dominant PC series. With Rage and Doom, we can tell id is trying to appease both the PC and console crowd. I also believe this Quake might be a multiplayer only game. Both Quake 1 and 2 were successful single player games too, because both of those games are considered to be some of the best from the genre to offer by gamers and critics alike. But I believe the esports side left more an impact. Quake was one of the earliest video game series that pro players were able to make a living off, with StarCraft when esport was starting to become a thing. I think a lot of new age gamers are just going to call Quake a Doom clone or rip off. Back in the 90s, that was the case too, but at the same time, the FPS genre was still young and there was still a lot of room to be explored, and Doom was, a success, so why not make it similar to Doom. I think the original Quake was great, even though it wasn't supposed to be a first-person shooter in the first place. And I would love to see, a better follow-up to the Quake 2 universe, because you guys know me, I love Quake 2, love Quake 2. But I really don't know what to expect from Quake. The future of it seems kind of gloomy, like Quake Live bombed on Steam when it was trying to be more accessible, and since it has such a strong esport following nowadays with being a traditional arena shooters where those kinds of games are pretty much dead compared to military shooters, I really don't think we will see a Quake game happening unless arena shooters are becoming popular. I could see it taking the Overwatch approach, but I don't think it'll work. Also, it just wouldn't feel like a Quake game to me. I think many old school fans are going to bash it to death too. I think the series has reached its end unless it can figure a miraculous way to revive it. I can also just see the series going through a lot of bad press with curious gamers and old school fans alike. It's going to be extremely tough to balance out expectations because I believe there are gamers that have different expectations of what a Quake game should have. For example, let's just say the new Quake game is a multi-plat game. PC gamers are going to say it's consoleized, it won't work for esports, and now it's a PC exclusive. If it's a PC exclusive, let's just say it's like a much prettier version of Quake 3 Arena. On one side, the esports slash multiplayer crowd are going to love it, but then again, what about the console crowd? There are some console gamers that did play Quake on their N64 or PS1 back in the days. What about from a business standpoint? It's not going to do so good because you're missing out the Xbox and PlayStation crowd. And of course, what about the single player crowd? It's just a challenging conundrum that the Quake series is in, and because of all the things it accomplished. So without a doubt, I don't think we're going to see a Quake game coming back soon. In conclusion, then we have Rage. In my opinion, this is the one I believe we're most likely going to see id returning to. I know Rage didn't do as well as id and Bethesda thought it should do. However, it has the perfect requirements of what a AAA game should be doing. You know, it got a fan base of console and PC gamers while being more of a single player game compared to multiplayer and co-op where they just add it as a bonus. I did complain that Rage has like an identity crisis, but it really has a better chance of figuring out how to make Rage being a successful AAA game rather than Quake, where there's just way too many expectations of what people believe a Quake game should have. I hope Rage 2 will be fine, and hopefully they should play the original game many times just to really see what they should fix and polish it up, because it does have a lot of potential at the end of the day. And of course, let's just throw it in there. What if id makes a new video game series? I don't know what they can do, but I believe it's most likely going to be a first-person shooter because they're known for, you know, that genre. They're the pioneers, the creators, whatever you guys want to call them. But I highly doubt id will take this route. It'll be interesting though. Like, it'll be nice if id can really take a lot of risks with this one and try to change how we play FPS games, just like they did when they made Wolf 3D and Doom. But because there's going to be a lot of business involved, and because id Software are people that are making games with high production value, I don't think this will ever happen in a long time. That's it for the video, and tell me what you guys think of my opinion. Thank you for watching.